What is going on, everyone? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and we have got another one of the big Heritage signature auctions coming up. You can see here on the screen, November 21st through the 24th. The big books start selling on the 21st, and I believe it's original art on the 22nd. Then you've got the next tier of comics, which are also very expensive, on the 23rd, and then more original art on the 24th. Some awesome stuff. I did a little bit of a preview, a flip through of the advertisement booklet that got mailed out, but today we are going to be going over session one. And so, similar to what I did with the Christine Farrell collection, where I priced everything out, I'm not pricing everything out for this one, but I am pricing out everything from session one, or I did price out everything from session one. And just, I like to see how the market is performing at different price points. These auctions, which are definitely the high end, they're fun to watch. You see really cool books, and they're small enough that I can price this stuff out in a reasonable amount of time. Because session one had 199 comics and a couple pulps that were part of it. So I priced all of those out. My estimate is $6,192,584, or an average of $31,118 per item. Now, there are some very big items in here, like an Action Comics 1, and there are other items that aren't quite as expensive, but they are all still very expensive. I also broke it down in price ranges. There is nothing in here that I've estimated below $1,000. 34 of them are from 1,000 to 5,000. 50 are from 5 to 10,000. 59, and this is the biggest one, is from 10 to 20,000. 36 from 20 to 50,000, 10 from 50 to 100,000, 9 from 100,000 to 1,000,000, and 1 that fell into the category of over 1,000,000. And you can guess which one that is. I already mentioned it, Action Comics 1. So, I mean, just massive books, huge average sales price, and just really fun to watch. And I've got a number of them that we're going to talk about today, just kind of what I think they're going to go for. Then I'll do a follow-up video after this and see how this session performed compared to my estimates. Now, unlike what I normally do, normally I work from kind of like the top down, which tends to be the golden age down. This time I decided I would start with the silver, bronze, modern books, and we'll focus on those a little bit more in this video, because that's what people seem to enjoy a little bit more anyway. And so, the one we're starting with, the notorious Ultimate Fallout #4 variant edition 9.8, the book that sold for $43,200 not that long ago, just early January of 23. So it was like January 23, so about a year, almost 2 years ago now, but that's not that long ago. This book was $43,000. I have it going for $8,000. There was actually a recent sale that I wasn't aware of. It must have been an eBay sale or something, that it fell below 8,000. So if we jump to Ultimate Fallout #4 and take a look at that, at the pricing, you'll see this one. And so, I mean, this is what I've been warning about with this book. I've been warning about it for a while. It felt very, very overheated. And you can see that most recent sale in November, $7,744. That is the lowest sale that we have had so far since going back to 2020. And this is the thing that's always scared me with this book. And I'm not going to go into this detail on every book I talk about here. But in 2020, you can see the low was 2,500. 2019, the high was 2,900. And then this book was going for 40,000. I mean, it's just insane jump in value. And it just did not feel sustainable, because there's just still too many of them out there, even though it's this variant. And so I've been saying that I think it's going to probably get down to somewhere around 5,000, and it just keeps inching down. It's at 7,744 now, and we'll just keep watching it. But I think that because this is a major auction, instead of what I'm guessing was probably an eBay sale, this will probably get a little more bidding. And so I've got it at 8,000. It wouldn't surprise me if it went a little more than that, got up around 9, but that's where I have it. So let's move on to the next book. And these are all going to be big books. I mean, they're going to be expensive books, but they're fun to see. And so we've got A Tomb of Dracula #10, the first blade in a 9.8 white pages. This book has also been correcting very significantly, especially because it seems like Marvel may not be doing this movie at all now. I think it's been pushed off the It's not even on the list of movies they're planning on doing right now. So we have no idea what's going on with this movie. It's at $6,600 right now. I have this one going for $17,000. It had a peak sale of $48,000. Now, one thing I want to say here is don't pay too much attention to what the book is at right now. These books often double or triple when the live bidding starts. If you're not familiar with how the heritage auctions work, they have these books that they're up there and available for people to bid for it's around 2 weeks before the auction starts, maybe even a little more than that. Then you get to the live bidding. And so then when you hit that live bidding, you have people that are bidding against each other like a normal auction. And every time someone bids, it adds a little bit more time onto the clock. It's about 10 seconds. And the clock ticks down and you can, bid back or not. Heritage is not a situation where you can snipe books. There's always time added when somebody bids back. But that's where I've seen some people that get confused by that. They think they've won, as the thing is ticking down to the live bidding, and then they don't realize that there's live bidding after that. And then the books, tend to get a lot more bids at that point. It's just, it's kind of like eBay, and where people wait to the last, minute or so to throw in their bids. But yeah, this one I'm going for 17,000. I still personally wouldn't buy it there. I think it's going to keep dropping, but that's where I think the value is right now today. All right. Now this next one, I'm actually going to show a close up of this one because, man, it's a good looking book from here, but this is one of those that I would be very concerned. And this is probably why it's still in the old label. I would not send this book back in to get into like the gold label, because this is a pedigree. This is a White Mountain pedigree. I would not try to get the gold label. I would be very concerned that this book would drop its grade. And so this is Strange Tales number 110, first appearance of Doctor Strange among some other characters. 9.2. Very nice grade for this book. I have it priced based on the grade, not what I think the grade is inside the case. So based on a 9.2 White Mountain pedigree, I have it at $27,000. This book, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. It has a lot going on. A lot of pre-Marvel chipping on the right edge. And we have learned that CGC is grading that harder now. They are punishing more for things like Marvel chipping and pre-Marvel chipping than they used to. That's an example of one where you want to be very careful about that. And you can see there's too much on this one for me to feel like it's still a 9.2. That's just my opinion on it. I can't say for sure. But I personally don't think this book would retain its 9.2 if it was resubmitted. It might, but it is not a gamble that I would take. Regardless, I've got it at 27,000. All right, now let's move to a really cool book. You don't see these come up too often. They have sold a few times in the last 3 or 4 years, but it's Star Wars number 1, 9.4. And you might go, why is this book sitting at $19,200? And that is because it is the 35-cent variant. This is one of you call it kind of like the ghost type books of the Bronze Age. Now they're out there and they're available, but they are not very common. These were in a very limited market across the US, so there's very limited distribution. I believe the highest grade on census is a 9.6. There's no 9.8 out there right now. This is one of the most expensive Bronze Age books that's out there per point, especially when you start getting up into the high grades. Now, this 9.4 had a peak sale of $56,400, a little more in the comic boom period. I have it going for $41,000, sitting at $19,200 right now. So it's going pretty strong already. But yeah, and don't get confused with, there's a lot of Star Wars books that will have 35 cents up here. It needs to have 35 cents. It can't say reprint, and it needs to have the barcode here. If it says 35 cents and it's in like a diamond and this barcode and there's no barcode, it's like a white box, you don't have the 35-cent variant. It has to look exactly like this. But yeah, big book. And it's right near the end of this auction. I think it's going to be, I think 41,000 is where I've got this one going. All right. Now we have a major Silver Age key. Showcase number 4. And the reason I wanted to talk about this one is this is a stunning copy. This is a 5.0 white pages. It has this crease down in the lower right corner, but man, you can just tell, the colors on this copy are incredible. They really pop. It's got this, it's got a cool little stamp, like date stamp or store stamp or something up there. But the main thing is this crease down here. But this is a He's got a little spine wear and stuff, but this is a great looking 5.0. This is a very, very presentable copy. And so I have this one going for 27,000. Its record sale was 31,200. But honestly, I would not be surprised at all if this beats that number because this one presents so well. I think this one will likely get a premium because of that. Partially the white pages, but also just it is bright. This is a very good looking copy. Right. Now, the next one. This is the only 9.9 that I'm talking about. I didn't check if there were any others in this auction. This one's pretty cool. 9.9, New Mutants 87, signed by Todd McFarlane. Now, the signature is a little tough to see, so we can we can see it right here because it's in this gold, so it's a little hard to see on there. But crazy that this thing was handled for a signature and got that 9.9 as well. Obviously, a very tough book to value, but it did sell previously. It had a prior sale of $2,250, so $2,250. I have it going for $6,000. It could go for more. This one is a little bit more of a coin flip than a lot of other books. And so, I mean, we can just take a look at this one real quick. Yeah, New Mutants 87 here. So you can see there is a 9.9 unsigned that sold for $2,000 back in 2012. Actually sold for $2,900 in 2010. But we look at a 9.8, $375. Then if we look at a signed copy, so we'll look at a signed copy signed by McFarlane. I think it's all the way on the bottom here. So, yep, right here. So 9.8, it's going for around 770, 750, somewhere in that range right now, signed by McFarlane. This one, this 9.9, we have a sale here for $2,250 back in 2012. So it's just the question is, what's this one going to be worth today? And basically I did kind of a multiple and I came up with about $6,000. I mean, it hasn't sold in over 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised if it went for more, but that is approximately what I think this book is going to go for. So I've got it at 6,000. Let me know in the comments. What do you think this 9.9 signed copy of New Mutants 87, first appearance of Cable, is going to go for? All right. Now we've got one of the biggest books of the Bronze Age, if not the biggest book of the Bronze Age. Not the most expensive, but most popular. This is another stunning copy, and one that, again, I would not be surprised if this one beats my estimate because of how good this copy looks. So Hulk 181, first full appearance of Wolverine. I mean, just look at the colors on this copy. They are extremely vibrant. The wrap isn't perfect. You can see it's got a little bit of a miswrap there, but it's on the back, which to me is preferable because then you don't have the white strip along the left edge. The Marvel Comics Group banner is a little off, but it's pretty good. It's not too bad. So I have this one going for $19,000. Its record sale was $36,000. But again, because this one presents so well, it's white pages, all that, I wouldn't be surprised if it beats that number. It's already up at $15,600. This one has bid up pretty high very quickly. Usually they aren't sitting this close to the estimate that I have when we're almost at the auction. Usually, you get quite a bit of bidding during the live bids. All right, so now maybe the number 2 book from the Bronze Age. And this is another one that is just a beautiful copy. I talked about this one in that other preview video. Giant Size X-Men 1, 9.8, white pages. This is one that I always take a close look at these because Giant Size X-Men 1, for whatever reason, in CGC cases, often seems to take damage on the right edge. So it's something you always want to check, especially with really high-grade copies like 9.4, 9.6, 9.8. This one, I don't see anything. This one looks absolutely perfect. So that's great. I mean, I hate to see them get damaged inside the case. I have this book going for $34,000. The white page copies have been getting a big premium on this book. The off-white to white or off-white have been going like low to mid 20s, but the white pages have consistently been breaking 30. So I've got it at $34,000. Its record price was $72,000 back during the comic boom. Not going to get anywhere close to that, but stunning looking copy. Got it at 34 grand, sitting at 22,800 right now. So it's got some work to do, but not too much. All right, now another huge Silver Age key and a pretty nice grade too. We've got Fantastic Four number 1, 7.5, off-white to white pages. This book had a peak sale of 168,000 during the comic boom. I do not think this copy is going to break 100,000. I've got it going for 85,000. It has corrected significantly, not just in this grade, but in all grades. And so I've got it going for 85,000, which is still obviously a lot of money, but about half of what it was during the comic boom. Beautiful looking copy. The whites are actually pretty nice on this one. You often get a lot of yellowing on that cover, and the reds are real bright. So it's a great looking copy. I've got it going for 85 grand. All right. This one, I just feel like I had to talk about this book. Just, this is one when I was pricing it, I messaged a couple of people because I forgot how much this book sold for during the comic boom. Amazing Spider-Man 129, 9.8, white pages, first appearance of the Punisher. I have it going for 17,000, already at 15,600. So one of those that is probably going to beat my estimate, but I have it going for 17,000. It hit 57,000 during the comic boom. Just crazy. I mean, that's one of those where this book has been cut down significantly since that time. It's just too common to have hit those types of numbers. I mean, there are just so many copies of these books out there that's why when they hit those big numbers, they corrected, because people just said, oh, I'll sell them for that. And they put them up for sale. And then you got those big price corrections, but still I got to go for 17,000. Record sale, 57,000 for that book. Now sticking with Amazing Spider-Man, but moving all the way back to the Silver Age, got Amazing Spider-Man #1. There are actually two copies back to back. There's this 8.0 and there is a 7.5. This 8.0 I have going for 45,000. Record sale of 66,000. It is a solid looking copy. Off-white to white pages, good colors. Spider-Man's bright. The reds are bright. It's one of the big things I look for on this book. But yeah, great looking copy. You often have the staples a little offset on this one on the front. I just feel like I see that with this book a lot. But yeah, 8.0, really good looking book, and 45 grand. But next one, also sticking with Spider-Man. This is one of the books that I think is going to break 100,000, specifically because this copy looks so good. This is a 6.5, sitting at 84,000 right now. I have it going for 110,000. Now, its record sale during the comic boom was 225,000, so it has corrected, but Amazing Fantasy 15 has largely stabilized. We are still seeing it drift down a little bit, but it really has largely stabilized. But I mean, colors on this copy are amazing. The reds are bright. The browns are deep, good yellows. No Marvel chipping. You just have basically this little chip up in the upper right corner, a little crease there, and then just some, standard spine wear that you're going to see in like a 6.5. But this is a very, very nice presenting copy. I mean, just a beautiful copy. And that's why I think for the grade, it is definitely going to get a premium. So I've got it going for 110,000. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it went for a little bit more, but 110 is where I think is a reasonable number for that book. All right. So we talked about a bunch of silver and bronze, even a little bit of modern. We're going to jump into a little bit of golden age here now, because there are some monsters in this auction for golden age. And the first one we are going to talk about is Wonder Woman #1. In a 7.0. I never see this book in a solid grade like this. I mean, a 7.0 is an incredible grade for this book. I have it going for 65,000. Its record sale was 72,000. The tricky part with Wonder Woman, I think a lot of people know this, is just that the main value in the Wonder Woman big keys is split between 3 books. You've got All-Star 8 for the first appearance, Sensation 1 for the first cover, and Wonder Woman 1 for the first self-titled. And so that hurts the value of all of them. But yeah, 7.0, just an amazing copy. I like this cover the most of all those big first appearances for her. But yep, I've got this one going for 65,000. Beautiful book. Next, we have another one of the books that I think is going to break 100,000, but just barely. And we'll see. It's going to be tough because it's a brittle page copy, and brittle pages often struggle on Heritage a little bit, but we're already at 60,000. It's a 1.0 brittle page. And I know it's got like, I'm gonna say it's a good looking 1.0. Like it's not a great looking 1.0, but it is a good looking 1.0. It doesn't have any pieces missing really out of the front, like a little down here. But I mean, this is the type of 1.0 I feel like you would want. I mean, yeah, you probably don't want the brittle pages, but I don't see a bunch of chips and loose pieces inside. So brittle you have to take with a little, like a grain of salt. Brittle can be like crumbling and falling apart, or brittle can actually be pretty nice. I've had books that have gotten brittle designations that I've flipped through and they're just fine. There aren't pieces flaking off. It could be just a small part of the book that has brittle and they will give it a brittle designation. But this is a solid looking copy. The back isn't missing any big pieces or anything. This is a good looking 1.0 in my opinion. But I have this one going for 105,000. The record price for a 1.0 was 141,450. Because of the page quality, I don't see this book hitting that type of number. But I mean, a complete copy, a decent looking copy, I think this book is going to break 100 grand. Got it at 105,000. All right, now the next one. This book has already been on a roll. So, I mean, it seems like it's going to beat my estimate. And just one thing I want to put out there too. Oh, it's actually already above my estimate now. My estimate is what I value the book at. If the book, when I'm pricing things out, is already above what I'd value it as, I'm still going to value it at that same number. I'm not going to increase my estimate because I see a higher number bid on the book. That, like, I'm valuing it as what I think the book would sell for based on historical prices. And so if the book is already above that, that's fine. It just means that book is going to sell for more than what I currently value that book as. So this one I value at 30,000 and it's already at 31,200. Now, again, it's a 1.0, a decent looking 1.0, big piece out of the front, but this is a book that we're seeing what the base value is now for this book. And that base value has definitely increased. If you're not familiar with this, it is the first appearance of Archie. Also, this, pretty cool World War II cover, but Pep Comics number 22. I've got it at 30,000. It's never sold in the 1.0 before, already at 31,200. So this book is already beating my estimates. All right. The next one here. I'm really interested to see what this book sells for. This is Fantastic Comics number 3. If you have not seen this book before, it's because this book is extremely uncommon. You do not see this book come up for sale hardly ever. It's a Lou Fine cover. I am not a Lou Fine fan, but this is a pretty cool cover. I'll say, like, I like the robots, like all the little details, the gears and everything, I think are pretty cool. Like all the people being dumped out of this train car, or whatever that is. I mean, it is a pretty cool cover. I give that to this one. But I mean, let's take a look at Fantastic number 3. And I'll just give you an idea how often, this book comes up for sale. Like, I think in auctions that I've been paying attention to, I've only seen this book maybe sell one other time. And so we've got, and I think it was this one, because I don't remember this coverless copy, but it was this one here. I think that this 14,400 for a 0.5 incomplete missing back cover. We had a 1.8 sell for 40,800 in 2021. Let's see if this is the same one. I wouldn't be surprised. 387. No, it's either a different copy or someone resubmitted it. And you can see it has this very minor amount of glue on cover. You can get blue labels with that. It's not a mistake that CGC made, because I know people always ask that. If you typically with glue it means that the glue isn't doing anything. It's not like holding the cover on, or sealing a tear or anything like that. So that's when you can get that type of designation and still get a universal grade. But I have this book going for $85,000. Part of this is that I have heard there are a few very deep-pocketed people that like this book. And so I think that the bidding is going to be very strong for it, because you can see they do not come up for sale. It's been 3 years since a copy has come up for sale at all. And so there's going to be pent-up demand for it. And if we take a look at the census for this book, I mean, Universals, there's only 17. there's a 9.4 that's got to be the Mile High. It just has to be. So there's only 17. This, I mean, look at this. Like, of those 17, 7 of them are below this 1.8. So even a 1.8 is a pretty nice grade for this book. And this one looks nice. Like, this is a solid presenting copy. No big pieces out of the front, no big pieces out of the back. So, I mean, yeah, I've got it for 85,000. I think I said in my preview video, I wouldn't be surprised if it broke 100, but we'll see. I'm very interested to see what this book ultimately ends up selling for. And one of the other really cool books that's in this auction is this one right here. Detective Comics number 27. Has the wrong back cover, so somebody married an incorrect back cover onto it. 0.5, brittle pages. I have this book going for $275,000. It is currently at $204,000. The reason for my price estimate was that there was just a cover that sold on Comic Link like a year ago or 8 months ago for, it was like $220,000 or $230,000, something like that. And so I figure that plus like a complete interior, it's got to be at least like $275,000 for this book. And so I think just like we saw with the Action Comics 1.5 that sold for $400,000, we're seeing what that base value is for this book. Like, this is going to be the most affordable Detective Comics 27 that someone can buy that's not restored or anything like that. And so you're going to have a lot of people interested, because this is the copy that, I mean, most people can't get into that $500,000, $1 million. Even 200,000 is a ton of money, but this is the one that you're going to be able to have a few people are really going to be fighting for this, actually probably more than a few. And so that's why I think the bidding is going to be pretty strong for it. And that's why I've got it at $275,000. And the other thing I want to mention that was pretty cool about somebody, and I mentioned this in the prior video, this was found at a garage sale. So I think, let's see if they put that in here or not. No, they didn't put it into the listing. But when Heritage posted about this, they mentioned that. And so this book was found in a garage sale, and you wonder what the person who picked it up paid for this. But I think $275,000 is what it's going to go for. Now, this next one isn't like a huge book or anything. I just wanted to point it out because there are a bunch of them in this auction. This is Crime Suspense Stories number 2. This is a Gaines file copy 9.8. There's like 6 or 8 9.8 Gaines file copies in this auction. And I mean, you're going to see how stunning these books are. They look like they're printed yesterday. But 9.8 white pages. This one I have going for $12,000. Record sale was $16,800. It's got a lot of work to do right now. It's at $2,880, but I mean, we've been seeing huge numbers for Gaines file copies lately, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to keep bidding up. So I got it going for $12,000. All right, now sticking with huge Golden Age books, we've got Batman number 1. There's always a Batman number 1 in these big auctions. This is a 1.5, and again, a good looking copy. I mean, this is a great looking 1.5. It looks like there's probably some tape that was on the spine that got removed. Little paper loss. Back cover looks solid. I mean, this is a good looking 1.5. I've got it going for 110,000. Record sale was 92,800. So I am estimating a new record for a 1.5. But it's just such a nice looking copy. I think it can do it. Off-white to white pages, so nice pages too. I think this one's gonna do pretty well. All right. There's a couple Silver Age books that are in this early part of the auction. One of them that I just think people are always interested in. Fantastic Four number 48, 9.8 white pages. They aren't all that rare because I've talked about this a number of times. There was a warehouse find for this book. So there are quite a few 9.8s of this book out there, which does hurt the value, but it's still a very valuable book. First appearance of Silver Surfer, first cameo appearance of Galactus. I have it going for 65,000. Record sale was 108,000. Already at 49,200. So it's doing pretty good already. But they come up for sale a lot, and so that has pushed the price back down some. Most auctions, the big auctions at least, I tend to see one of these, like a 9.8. If we go down and look at the census, you can see here in a 9.8, there's 45 of them. That is a ton of 9.8s for the Silver Age. So it just gives you an idea. I mean, 103 9.6s, the 133 9.4s, and this is what happened because of that warehouse find of this book. So there are a lot of high grade copies, and that's been depressing that price. Now, one of the coolest books that's in this auction, it's not the most expensive, even though it's one of them. It's one of the more expensive books. Detective Comics number 31. I mean, for me, probably my favorite Batman cover. I think it's got to be, yeah, favorite Batman cover. And you can see I put in a joke little $5,000 bid at one point, but somebody decided, I couldn't have it for that. So it's already sitting up at $90,000. I have it going for $150,000. Its prior record was $90,000. There have been a couple sales of this book. There was a 2.5 that went for like 92, and then there was a 5.0 that went for like 190, somewhere in there. And so that's why I've got it going for 150,000. I do have this one bolded on my spreadsheet, so it means I think that it could go above that price too. This is a very nice looking 4.0 off-white pages, so solid page quality. I mean, the colors are great on it. There's a few little dust shadows, but really this is a good looking copy of this book. So I expect there to be quite a bit of interest in this one. Then we're going to close out with two huge Golden Age books. First one, Captain America #1, 5.5. You can see I also put in, somebody wasn't going to let me have this book for $5,000. It's already sitting at $120,000. I have it going for $185,000, which would be a new record. So it might be a little stretch for this one to get there. Prior record was $172,221. But this is a really good looking copy. I mean, the only thing that really hurts it some is the name on the cover, but I believe that was the original owner. If I remember reading about it, I don't think if they put any details here, but it was talked about on one of the Heritage Instagram posts, and I believe this was the original owner, which is pretty cool. So I think that's pretty cool. But the colors are amazing on this copy. That is often one of the things you need to look out for with Cap 1. I mean, you can't be too picky, but the reds will tend to fade, the blues will tend to fade, and this one looks very, very nice. So 5.5, I think it's a great looking copy. And so I've got it going for $185,000, which would be a new record. Now, the last book we're going to talk about, the biggest book of this auction. There's no question. It's already at a huge number. It's actually the first book that's selling in the auction, which can be a tricky spot to be in. I feel like you often want to push that biggest book, maybe a couple in, so that everybody's gotten settled in and everything with their bidding. But see, I mean, I threw in a $50,000 bid, but nobody's going to let me have it for that. It's at $960,000 already. I have it going for $1.5 million. It's a 3.0 has sold before. The record for a 3.0 was $1,638,759. I don't think it's going to hit that number. The one thing that could hurt this one a little bit is I feel like there is, and I don't know if this is just maybe some of them are printed this way or not. I haven't seen enough action ones, but it feels like that top bar is a little faded. So maybe a little color fade on this cover, which could hurt it some. But I've got it going for $1.5 million. It has some work to do, but I wouldn't be surprised if it gets some more bids out there in the live. So 3.0, I think this is creamed off white pages. Let's take a quick look here. Yeah, creamed off white pages was graded quite a while ago, 3 zeros. Let's check that out. Check out when this one was originally graded. So if we jump over to CGC, can't see it. So they must have sent this one in to get recased, but I bet we can find it. Let's find that Action Comics #1. Because I mean, there's only so many of these books out there, so it's not like they sell all the time. So we'll just look for another 3.0. And so look at a 3.0 here and look for one that sold in 2004. That's probably it. Oh, it's not here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look on Go Collect then, because Go Collect is going to give us pictures. So whether you can get a link or not. So Action Comics #1. We'll do Action Comics #1. All right. So we've got Action Comics #1. And now what we're going to do is we're going to jump down to a 3.0 and we'll see if we can get that picture. And so this one will look up from. All right, so now let's jump down to, here we go, 2002. Yeah, that's the same book. Was this one not here? Huh. Interesting. Was it a 3.0? Yeah, it was a 3.0. Let's make sure. Yeah, okay. It's not there for some reason. All right, so 2002. Let's see if it's on here. Yeah. All right. I don't know why it wasn't popping up there, but here we've got, you can see this old label. And if we zoom in here, 000831, and up here we've got 000831. So somebody just, they put it into a new case, but you can tell it's got the same flaws. It's got that little flaw up in the corner, a little flaw up in the corner. It's got the tape along the spine, tape along the spine, all of that. I mean, this is a camera from 20 years ago versus this one, so that's probably why you have a difference in the picture there. But this is the book that somebody purchased back in 2002 for $48,300. So it's gonna be a pretty good return on their investment. Like I said, I think this one's going to sell for like 1.5 million. I mean, even if it sells for just like $1 million, they still did pretty good on that investment, assuming it was the same person that owned it, which I doubt. I bet this has traded hands a number of times since then. Who knows? Maybe they've kept it since then. But yeah, Action Comics #1, 3.0, 1.5 million. We'll see. Let me know in the comments. What do you think this book is going to go for? Like I said at the beginning, my estimate for all of session 1 is $6,192,584 for all 199 items that are in this first session. I want to see, like, does this session outperform my estimates or underperform? What does it look like across the board? And I'll be able to check that after this session is ended, and I'll make another video at that point. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and I will see you on the next one.